Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host Paul, and in this video we're breaking down the Odyssey. The first trailer for Christopher Nolan's latest cinematic epic, The Odyssey, is officially here, and in this video we're going to be going through it all. Adapting Homer's epic tale of the Greek hero Odysseus, the teaser offers our best look at the classic epic on the big screen. While just a short look, the trailer actually showcases a lot of Odysseus' journey and gives us an idea of how Nolan's approaching adapting the centuries-old tale, or millennia-old tale at this point. Throughout this video, we're going to be breaking it all down and pointing out some of the iconic moments that we see from Homer's epic. Obviously, you know, this is based on a book, so there's lots of details from that give us some insight into what we may see in the movie. It's also, spoilers for this, yeah, it's 2,000 years old at least, but there's going to be spoilers for that. But if you enjoy it, please hit the thumbs up and make sure you subscribe for our videos like this every day. That out of the way, thank you for clicking this. Now let's get into the Odyssey. Now we start the trailer panning over the fields of Troy and what seems to be the remains of the Trojan War. There's armor of fallen Greeks scattered all around the sand, and it's a great way to kickstart the first look. We then quickly cut to Odysseus bowing to who I believe is Agamemnon. Which you're going to butcher all the pronunciation on this video. Agamemnon is commander to the Greeks in the Trojan War, and in the works, him and Odysseus are not really cool with each other. Agamemnon sends someone to kill Odysseus' son Telemachus, and this was in order to convince him to join the battle. Agamemnon is also the brother of Menelaus, who's played by Jon Bernthal. We don't really see any of Bernthal in this teaser, but he along with Agamemnon basically started the war when Menelaus' wife ran off to Troy with the Trojan prince Paris. Now, we didn't know who Bernthal was playing when we broke down that initial teaser trailer, but we did see him talking with Odysseus' son Telemachus. He does this in book 4 of the Odyssey, and yeah, this should have been our very first clue. Major player in the story though, who has his own adventure home that we might even see in some of the film. And who knows, we might get a sequel, because I'm very curious to how Nolan's going to fit this all into one film. I would also mention that while we don't officially know if this is Agamemnon or who's playing him, I'm going to go on a theory time limb and say it's Benny Safdie. We don't hear him speak, and the costume department does a really good job of having the helmet cover his face, but based on who we know from the cast, that's my guess. We then see Matt Damon as the iconic Odysseus leading his men through the woods as the voiceover says, "No one could stand between my men and home, not even me." Now, for those who may not have caught up on the Odyssey in the past 2,000 years, the epic tale follows Odysseus and his men's 10-year journey back home from Ithaca after the Battle of Troy. There they face all manner of monsters and gods that keep them from reaching their destination. On the journey, Odysseus' men are also faced with lots and lots of tests that determine the trajectory of their fate and put them at odds with Odysseus. We then get a shot of the famous Ithaca as Odysseus' son Telemachus confronts his mother Penelope, presumably about the whereabouts of his father. In the works, Telemachus spends the first 4 books of the Odyssey asking various people about what could have happened to his dad. This actually makes me think that Nolan could be structuring this through Telemachus' perspective, and what we see of Odyssey are the stories he's being told by the various people of Ithaca. Being revered as the most cunning and brave of the Greeks for his construction of the Trojan horse, Odysseus is a near-mythical figure after 20 years away. And this could be how Nolan will integrate some of the bigger elements of the tale. Now, as far as Penelope goes, we don't really see much of her in this trailer, but she does play a very important role in the overall story. While Odysseus desperately tries to make her way back to her, she faithfully waits for him despite being pressured to remarry over 100 suitors. They're all trying to win her hand and basically get her to subscribe and hit the thumbs up if you're here. She does this in a variety of ways over the years though, and is probably something we'll see as Telemachus searches for his father. We then get a shot of Odysseus and his men sailing the seas until cutting to the Trojan army pulling in a giant horse statue out of the water. Giving us a motherfucking theory time confirmed! In the teaser breakdown, we got a shot of a broken horse on a beach with soldiers approaching, and I talked about how while I thought this was the Trojan horse, some other chumps out there thought it was just part of the ship. Well, you were wrong, and I was right, because we then cut inside to see Odysseus and his crew and said Trojan horse. One of the men gets slashed, and the others then cover his mouth to prevent him from exposing them. We then see Odysseus and his men entering a cave and are met with the briefest glimpse of a Cyclops. This is Polyphemus, son of Poseidon, who captures Odysseus and his men when they come in his cave looking for supplies. This is one of the most significant turning points in Odysseus' journey, and it's when he's cursed by the god Poseidon. This leads to pretty much all the other trials and creatures Odysseus faces throughout the epic, including sirens, the witch queen Circe, and countless sea storms and monsters. Seeing the Cyclops as well, like even if it's for a second, it tells me Nolan's going to be embracing a lot of the mythological aspects of the story. In our teaser breakdown, we talked about how Nolan typically tends to keep things grounded and wonder how he could include the more fantastical elements of Odysseus' journey. While I still expect the film to be as grounded as a mythological fable can be, it seems like we will indeed be getting some of the more classic mythology aspects of the story, especially if this is being told from the stories from Telemachus' point of view. We also get quick shots of Odysseus and his men running back to their fleet, which isn't really important, but I don't think it's part of the same scene as the Cyclops. In the work, they escape the Cyclops by disguising themselves as sheep, and we can see that they're still in their armor here. I think this is probably early on in their journey home, as we can see there's still quite a good number of them. I think this is them most likely fleeing the island of Ismara, which was one of their first stops after leaving Troy. There they're attacked by the Cyclones, who fought alongside the Trojans, and they forced Odysseus and his men to retreat back to their ships. And they also killed 6 of Odysseus' men from each boat. We then see Odysseus and his men walking through a dark and desolate field as dead soldiers begin rising from the ground. Now, this must be the underworld. This is where Odysseus and his crew travel after escaping Circe in search of a blind prophet. This is Tiresias, who will ask for advice on surviving their trials to get back to Ithaca. In Book 24 of the Odyssey, Odysseus makes a sacrifice to the underworld in order to awaken the dead, and he's confronted by multiple people from the past. This includes his friend Elpenor, his mother, and the great warrior Achilles. We can also see that the soldier who rises from the ground to face Odysseus is wearing the same Greek-style armor as Odysseus and his men. Maybe we'll even get a Brad Pitt cameo. This scene also seems directly inspired by one of Odysseus' lines in the work when he first awakens the dead. From this multitude of the souls as they fluttered to and fro from the trench, there came an eerie clamour. Panic drained the blood from my cheeks. Can definitely see Matt Damon pissed himself a bit there when the soldier came out the ground, which further points to this being in the underworld. There's also a hooded figure standing to the left of the dead soldier, which could be Tiresias himself. The scene also fits in this line with Homer's description of the underworld being at the edge of the world on the farthest shores of the river Oceanus. Where lie the land and lay the city of the Cimmerians, who live enshrouded in mist and darkness, which the rays of the sun never pierce, neither at his rising, nor as he goes down again and out of the heavens. But the poor wretches live in one long melancholy night. Which comes from Book 11. Now, scholars are very divided on what Homer exactly meant by field, with some obviously associating it with a big field of flowers. However, others have thought that he meant a field of ash. This is the depiction that Nolan's seemingly gone with, and I think it's a great choice. We then see some of these trials as Odysseus and his men battle a storm at sea. Odysseus mans one of the cars himself after his crew falls victim to the storm's winds. The scene seems to be taking place later on in the film after Odysseus and his crew are cursed by Poseidon. As we can see here, they're only down to one ship, in contrast to the fleet of the 3 ships we saw earlier. We then end the trailer with Penelope holding Odysseus, making him promise to return. However, he asks what if he can't before cutting to the title card in Nolan's classic font. Now, while it may be a brief look, I think this trailer perfectly hits a lot of the key moments of Odysseus' journey without giving too much away. And I absolutely love the score as well. Everything from the costumes, colour grading, and sheer scale of the film looks incredible, and I can't wait to see how Nolan brings this epic to life. It's such an expansive and epic story, and Nolan's one of my favourite directors of all time, so I think he's one of the only people who could not only attempt to bring this story to the screen, but also actually deliver on it. This trailer as well, that further makes me believe that. This is also the most we've seen of Matt Damon as the iconic warrior Odysseus, who I wasn't entirely convinced of at first, but this trailer does make me think he's going to do a good job. Say what you want, yeah, but Matt Damon can definitely command a screen, and he really fits the warrior on the road home aesthetic of Odysseus. But yeah, I thought this trailer was fantastic, and damn near perfect. There's no doubt in my mind that Nolan and the entire cast are going to knock this out of the park, and I cannot wait to be front and centre. Well, maybe not the front, because it hurts my neck, but like seat F10 right in the middle or whatever. As always though, let me know what you thought of the teaser below and what you're most excited to see in the movie. Huge thank you to TJ as well, aka the Fat Thor on Twitter, for all his work on this trailer. He pulled it together last minute. As you can hear, I'm not 100%. I seem to keep getting colds all the time. I had one during Stranger Things. I thought that's it for the year. It's fucking back and I hate it. But yeah, shout out to TJ, hell of a guy. Before you go as well, we also have our merch store right below the video. The Christmas sales are still on. You probably won't get it in time for Christmas now, mate. We're not Amazon. But if you want to buy it for yourself, we've also got gift cards if you want to get it for someone else. Check out all the designs. You're going to bloody love them. Also, if you want to support us through our membership program for just 99 cents a month, there you'll get access to a breakdown every week, a week before anyone else. And right now, we've got It Chapter 2. So yeah, if you've been watching our Welcome to Derry breakdowns, that's the perfect aperitif. Also, I've seen like James Ransom died yesterday, which is really sad. So rest in peace. But yeah, put a bit of a downer to end the video on, but very sad news. But if you want something else to watch to cheer you up, yeah, you can get early access to that now, and it's linked on screen. If not though, huge thank you for sticking through this video. I've been your host Paul. You've been the best, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Peace.